Consultation with the Fox and Farley legal team. 457-6440.
The gentle cooing of the mourning dove is a very familiar bird sound. Hi, I'm Jody Henke. From southern Canada to central Mexico, this dove is one of our most common birds as you're living the country life.
Living the country life. Ideas and inspiration for your place in the country. You can find more information on today's topic and from previous shows by visiting us online at livingthecountrylife.com. We'll return to the show after these messages.
Just like you, Cenex Premium Diesel is no stranger to the field. In fact, Cenex Ruby Fieldmaster comes with a more complete additive package for a more complete burn. In simpler terms, you get restored power by up to 4.5% and restored fuel economy by up to 5%. Of course, there's always typical number 2 diesel, if you're not into the whole added power thing. Cenex Premium Diesel. Diesel that doesn't mess around.
Peace of mind, powered locally. Cenex is a brand of CHS.
A cold front can slow the world to a crawl, but with Cenex Premium Diesel, your fleet can power through. Cenex Roadmaster XL Seasonally Enhanced comes with a more complete additive package for a more complete burn, optimizing cold weather performance over typical number 2 diesel. So rather than complaining about the cold, own it with Cenex Premium Diesel. Cenex Premium Diesel. Diesel that doesn't mess around.
Peace of mind, powered locally. Cenex is a brand of CHS.
I love a quiet summer day when I hear the mourning doves cooing to each other from tree to tree. Every year, I see a few doves lazing on the rail of my deck close to the bird feeders. They get their name because of the soft, drawn-out call that sounds like a lament. When they fly away, their large wings make a whistle or whir kind of sound as the air rushes through their feathers. Greg Yarrow is the chair of the Department of Forestry and Environmental Conservation at Clemson University. He says there's a good reason why mourning doves like to hang near bird feeders. About 90% of their diet is seeds.
They like a variety of different seeds that are high in oil content and some that are high in protein. They like a lot of grass seeds or seeds from small broadleaf plants, and a lot of these seeds that are available on the ground, they fall on the ground where they can find them.
Mourning doves prefer open land with a scattering of trees and shrubs for cover and nesting. Yarrow says they build their nests about 15 feet off the ground. Unfortunately, they don't have much pride in home ownership because nest construction is incredibly sloppy.
The male and female will begin to build the nest sometime in February, and it looks like just a pile of sticks thrown together. The female lays her eggs. She'll lay 2 eggs, and a lot of times in areas where there's wind, those eggs get knocked down, so they'll have to many times re-nest and lay the eggs. But they can do that up to 4 or 5 times, so, they're fairly prolific.
Yarrow says mourning doves are one of the most widespread and adaptable North American birds. They have a high rate of reproduction, but also a high rate of mortality. He says the birds live on average about 1.5 years. Learn more about mourning doves at livingthecountrylife.com. I'll see you in the country.
Living the country life. Ideas and inspiration for your place in the country. You can find more information on today's topic, share your tips, and post photos by visiting us online at livingthecountrylife.com.
As a homeowner, I'm always looking for peace of mind, especially when I have a costly, unplanned expense, like a cooling system repair or replacement. That's when I turn to the eScore Quality Contractor Network. They're the pros who've been specially trained and approved by TVA and your local power company. The quality contractors are licensed and insured, so you can be assured the job will be done right and inspected for free. Contact your local power company or visit energyright.com to learn more.
Good morning and welcome to AM 1380 WYSH and Ask Your Neighbor. Ask Your Neighbor can also be heard and seen on our website, WYSHradio.com. And if you are in Anderson, Roane, or Morgan County and have Comcast cable, you can watch Ask Your Neighbor on BBB TV Channel 12. Ask Your Neighbor is the program where you call in and do just that. Ask Your Neighbor. Do you have a comment? Do you have a problem? Or do you have a question? Then call in and ask your neighbor. 865 457-1380 or toll free at 877-711-4005. And for those of you that might be listening or watching on the internet, you can email from our website, WYSHradio.com. Just click on the Contact Us button and email your questions. Now sit back and listen as listeners throughout East Tennessee and the entire world answer your questions on Ask Your Neighbor on BBB TV 12 and AM 1380 WYSH.
And good morning, everybody. Welcome into another Thursday. Ask Your Neighbor. It's David West, Stars and Stories of the Cas Walker Show. We got
big doings today.
big doings today. Yes, sir.
Yeah, we got some big stuff coming up.
Ready to go. Rip roaring and ready. Good morning. How y'all doing?
Big stuff. Anybody wants to get a guitar, they better get it quick. Ain't that what we were talking about?
We were talking about. So
we do have a lot of new stuff just come in. We got a lot of new amps. You know, I was telling you the other day, I think I told you Fender's got a new amp out.
The lightweight.
If you hit one finger, and I don't know how you can keep them going, a bass or a guitar, and it don't have no squeal, no rattle. You know, most of them you turn up, especially a bass amp, you need a rattle, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We got some special guests. I want to tell them about a show, and then we'll take a quickie break here and get everybody situated. I got hired on the job this morning.
Well, good. You got hired on the job.
You know, I think about working people this morning, of all the people you have around you, what's the hardest thing to do is get people to understand what you want and do it. You know, I heard Huey Carmichael was a very wealthy guy, not from Tennessee, and he said one time, the hardest thing I ever did is get people to do what I tell them to do. And I got to think about being hired. How many years we've been together now? About 30, 40?
Yeah, 40 years, yeah.
Yeah, L.E. brought him to me. he recruited him.
Yeah.
He brought him in and said, here's somebody you need to meet. And we was all over in the bunkhouse and doing a big show, and everybody sitting back there talking, and Howard started at me. And I thought, as I was thinking about him this morning, I thought, you know, we never had a disagreement or a cross word. But a few times Howard should have bucked, because he let me get us both in trouble.
We got you both in trouble, huh? Okay.
But let's do the whole show today for Owen Richardson. He's L.E. White's buddy.
Yep.
See, L.E. White and Owen Richardson and Jack Green, the star Jack Green, was all in service together. And every time...
Well, I bet that would have been a crew to run into on a Friday night, huh?
And Jimmy Snow, young Jimmy Snow's daddy. Them four was in there together, and they... Owen would come over, and every time L.E. come over to Sodaville, he'd come over and stay. And they'd go back into war days.
The war stories.
World War II.
Yeah, they done a lot of fighting. They'd pay their buddies to do their duty, and they'd go and
They go do something.
You know, L.E. told me, he said, I signed my check every month. He was on guard duty, and he said, this old boy couldn't play an instrument. And I said, I'll just give you my check if you do full guard duty for me and let me play in clubs. I can make a lot more money. He said, I can make 3 times as much playing clubs on the weekend as I could doing guard duty. And he said, I just signed my check over to him every month. Give it to him. He'd fill in.
He'd go play music.
Oh, Jack Green and L.E., of course, they played all through service, you know.
Sure.
Played music. Anyhow, if you want to hit a quick break, and I'm going to set everybody up here.
You get them all set up, we'll get them on the air. All right, back in flash. This is Ask Your Neighbor on the way.
You've got dirt, grime, and French fries from last season tucked under your front seat. From the rush of work and play, you've even collected enough dog hair in your vehicle to make a winter coat. Truth be told, your car's a mess, but the memories created will last a lifetime. Pure Magic Car Wash helps you bring back the magic in your vehicle and in your life. Stop by any of our 5 area locations today or check us out at PureMagicCarWash.com. Pure Magic Car Wash. Life happens in your car. Bring back the magic.
When you shop for your food for your family, you want to make sure you're getting the best quality, but you also want to make sure you're getting the best prices. United Grocery Outlet has you covered on both counts. The freshest fruits and vegetables, delicious meats like Black Angus steaks, snack foods, and desserts. You'll find it all at United Grocery Outlet, and you won't break the bank on your food purchases. There'll be smiles all around your table when you serve your family food from United Grocery Outlet.
Hey, this is Michael Mackey. I shop here at the UGO here in Halls, and I shop here for all my steaks when I'm grilling out for the family. The deals here are unbelievable. You'll find some good quality food for some really good low money.
Hey, this is Lou Robbins. I shop at the UGO in Clinton, and you never know what kind of deal you're going to find when you come in here. You need to come and try it.
United Grocery Outlet, shop them first. With 38 locations, there's one near you, and they guarantee you'll be 100% satisfied. Also, visit them online for great deals and more information at myugo.com.
The Lantern at Morning Point invites you and your family to an extravaganza Saturday, April 4th from 11 to 1. Join us for free egg hunts, games, and prizes. You are sure to have an excellent time. Make plans to attend Saturday, April 4th from 11 to 1. The Lantern at Morning Point, 960 South Charles G. Sievers Boulevard in Clinton, 865-457-4005, or online, morningpoint.com. The Lantern at Morning Point, the Alzheimer's Center of Excellence in Clinton. You have too much invested in your home to let water damage cause problems, and it can indeed cause problems. Mold, foundation failure, and structural damage. There's a company right here in East Tennessee that can take care of the problem, and they guarantee it. DryTech has the experience and knowledge to fix leaky basements and crawl spaces. Call DryTech today at 865-410-1077. DryTech never charges for estimates, and they're very cost-effective compared to the competition. DryTech's customers can tell you about the quality of the work. Billy says he and his wife, Christy, couldn't be happier with the results in their crawl space. Dennis says DryTech's workers were trustworthy and efficient. And Hunter says, good people, great work. If you have problems with water getting into your basement or crawl space, don't delay. Call DryTech today, 865-410-1077, or go online, thedrytech.com. Mention this ad, get $250 off. Remember, the estimates are free, the work is guaranteed. DryTech, the Knoxville area's premier basement waterproofing contractor, 865-410-1077. DryTech is a veteran-owned business.
All right, we're back. AM 1380 WISH, FM 101.1 and 99.5, AM 960 WQLA 95.9 FM. It's 1021. This is David West, Stars and Stories, the Cas Walker Show. David, introduce your guests for us.
We got some good guests here. Me and this fella goes way back to when he was a kid, and he's grown up. I'll tell you just a little bit, and then he can tell you all the particulars. We go way back when you started out doing the blues, brother.
No, actually, the Knoxville Newgrass Boys at the cider barn. Yeah,
Knoxville Newgrass.
That was 1974.
Was it?
Yes.
You was how old?
About 12.
12-year-old.
Yeah, 11 or 12.
Was that your first band?
Yeah, the first place I ever played.
Okay.
The cider barn.
That was first, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
Oh, he done so many different things. I remember when you went into the Blues Brothers. That was a great act you all had.
Yeah.
That was on down the road.
It was funny. It was during World's Fair. And we, Blues Brothers were big, so me and some buddies of mine had this little thing. We've been dressing up like the Blues Brothers. We took all these pictures of us getting ready for your show, lifting weights and all this stuff. But we'd lift weights in our suit with our ties and all. So we go in that night at the cider barn, and people, since, my gosh, we're hillbillies, so none of us spoke. You know, they just assumed we couldn't speak English because we were supposed to be from Paris. We actually came in as we called ourselves the Japanese Beatles from Paris during the World's Fair, and it was pretty funny. Good show, but crazy.
You had a lot of...
Who was with you when you did that, Phil?
Oh gosh, it wasn't a real band, but a guy named Roscoe Morgan, the Lakin brothers, Dennis and David, and then my nephew who played no musical instruments at all. We just gave him a ukulele and a big curly wig, and put him in a suit and tie. But what was funny that night is we had a guy that came out there, and he was going to protest us being out there because we brought, if you remember, we had brought we brought the flag from, I think we were Japanese Beatles, but we were from Europe, so we brought like a European flag in. This guy came out on stage and said, you can't have it on stage, you got to have an American flag up there. So he brings the American flag and takes our flag and cuts it in half, our European flag. So we have like a little squabble on stage. A lot of people thought we were really into it, and we worked our way out the back back door and left. So I think we ended up at your place. You had that little cabin there at the side. We went over and laughed for a while. But we just got our driver's license back then. We're just being idiots.
I'll tell you, one of the greatest, you have to tell this, Ron can kick out of this. There was a guy on the Cas Walker Show called Green Bean, and we started featuring him. It was Robert E. Lee, and got him a horn, and he traveled all over.
We talked about him on the way home. Tell him about Robert E.
And Robert E. Lee, I'll tell him his story. Robert E. Lee was on the Cas Walker Show, and he came out there, and they called him Green Bean up there, Bud and Larry and all that, man.
I didn't know that.
And so we made a star out of him, and he played the kazoo. And we could sing him, and he sang in all 7 keys. Please release me, let me go. We started him out where he sung it, and we went through all 7 keys, and directly going, and he'd do it because it was part of the act. Me and Monroe told him, said, you can sing in any key. We're going to go through all 7 keys. You're going to sing it. And his juggle veins would just pop out. He's screaming. And so I said, see if he's going to go with us. We still have this if anybody wants to come see it. We took a kazoo and put in a big horn.
Yeah.
And put a case on it. You
still got it. You still got it, yeah.
And he walked out and played kazoo through this big horn, and it looked like he'd done digging. Now, he thought Robert E. Lee hunted.
Oh, yeah.
Tell him you're Robert E. Lee.
Robert used to, when you walked in the back door, there was his little podium. He played snare drum. Back then he had a nail and he hung that kazoo on it, remember? So you guys used to do dueling banjos, and that was like, dueling banjos to him was like Elvis. It was his main song, Robert E. Lee. I mean, it was like Burning Love would be for Elvis. That was his feature. So one night he's up there and I come in and I was just obsessed with him, and I even told Samuel way over, I even wrote newsletters. Robert E. Lee, one point Robert E. Lee was going to jump a motorcycle over the cider barn and all this stuff, and I went and I told everybody this was going to happen. Robert E. Lee was an elderly little guy, so he
wasn't going to jump no motorcycle.
No, he did good to get in his car, much less on a motorcycle. So anyway, this one night, I was, real pumped up about Robert E. Lee, and I opened that door, and Robert E. hadn't got to doing dueling banjos yet. That was his baby.
His signature,
yeah, big part of the night. So I grabbed that kazoo off the wall, and he's over here playing. I grab his horn and get up in his ear, and I hit that, because anybody can play a kazoo, okay? Well, Robert E. comes straight around with his drumstick as a brush and hit me across the head. The next thing I know, I've got blood running down my face. And he breaks his drum brush, and he tells me, he says, you go next door, you little blank, 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 and get me another one. Well, I'm 13, so I go over to David, and they're all busy, and they're selling, making money like David does. So I had to break him away from it for just a minute. I said, hey, I've got to buy a drum brush from you, and I'm bleeding. And anyway, they give me some towels. I go to the bathroom around there, but they give me a drum brush. And I had to come back and break this to Robert E. Lee because I'd messed his up. And I handed it to him, and he told me, he says, did you ever do anything like that, fat boy? And it was but that fueled me to even make more Robert E. Lee newsletters. So I was obsessed with that guy, I swear.
Tell what the teacher made you do.
I had talked him up, about the cider barn jump. This was during the Evel Knievel days, and people were wanting something like that. So,
Mad Jack and Evel Knievel.
Oh yeah, exactly.
School paper.
Yeah, so I was doing the news stuff there, and I'd pass these Robert E. Lee papers out. And this was before we had copiers. I'd handwrite them all and do the same art. So. Anyway, my teacher, which me and Sammy talked about, Alvin Taylor.
Oh yeah.
He was one of my health teachers, and he got tired of hearing about Robert E. Lee, and he said, "Well, I'll tell you what, Ledbetter." So we're gonna go out there and see what's going on at the cider barn. And if he ain't jumping the cider barn on a motorcycle, see. Coach had fell into it too, that this guy might be going to jump. We didn't, and I had people say, I've been by there, where's he going to land at? I said, he's going to land up in the woods somewhere, So they thought that was pretty good, So
he just created this whole atmosphere.
The whole thing. It was all said. So anyway, Coach Taylor and a bunch of the other guys, they come outside our barn. They wanted to see Robert E. Lee. Well, that night of all nights, when we pulled in, his car's not there because he had that big old, was it a big old Impala or something like that? It was huge, and it was so big you'd see it coming. You could see it. It was so long you could see it as you topped the hill where you're coming because it'll be sticking 15 feet out to the road. So I didn't see it that night, and I kept telling him, he'll be here. So I asked David, said, Robert E's called in sick. So Coach Taylor said, if you ever mention Robert E. Lee's name again in school, you're going to get 3 licks on the paddle. So I wouldn't mention it. I'd always have people come up to me and it'd be in class and they'd say, you remember that time we went out and watched that guy, what's his name? And I wouldn't say anything. I'd say, yeah, because
didn't want to get a paddle.
No. So a couple of times I have a friend be there. We'd be out in the hall, and Coach Taylor would be around the corner hiding behind a Coke machine or something.
Tell me who it is.
Oh, yeah. Yes, Jerry Butler. Jerry plays up Dollywood now. He'd say, Phil, what's that guy's name down at the cider bar? And I was telling somebody about him. I'd say, Robert E. Lee. And Coach would step out with his paddle right then. So I learned, but I paid a lot of hard time and wasted a lot of rear end muscle getting popped. Because of the cider bar, and I took a lot of paddling for the team. I sure did.
I think you write one time that there ain't no Robert E. Lee.
Oh yeah, I had to write 1,000 times. There is no Robert. Oh no, it says the real Robert E. Lee is dead because he was talking about the general. He wasn't going to give me this. He thought I'd made this guy up. And I remember David had a picture of him. I did show them a picture, but they still didn't buy that was Robert E.
I think you write 1,000 times, right?
About 1,000 times on that. But yeah, we had all kinds of stories on him. He's going to jump the cider barn was one. Next one was that he was opening for Elvis Presley at Stokely. Just all kinds of stuff, and people just bought into this. But that was
one of your
early days.
One more was when you first met Monroe Queener. You remember when you got the spring door? He come in the store, and Monroe was a dobro player.
Yeah, I remember looking out the window, and as the first dobro, I was starting to learn dobro. And I'll tell you 2 little stories here, kind of back to back. But Monroe, I'd never seen one before. So my brother took me to cider barn, and I said, I've got a guitar set up like a dobro, but I wanted to see a real one. And I see Monroe walking in, this raining out there, and he's coming in, and it kind of freaked me out because it's Monroe, and I run back out the back door, got soaked, stood out there till I was brave enough to turn my phone off. I'm sorry about that. Hey, look at that. That's a Monroe Queener.
Monroe's long distance.
Yeah, that's very long distance. But anyway, it freaked me out because Monroe. But we got to be buddies there. But I was too young to really bond with Monroe. But I got to tell you a funny Josh Graves story. Josh was the dobro man, and he played at the Capitol Theater in Maryville. And I had heard he was going to be there. So back then I had hair and everything. So Biz Sammy's talking about all of our days that we missed going to school today, and it got to be with me. I just stay out of school, whatever, if I needed to do something, I just stay out of school, So this night, Josh Graves was going to be performing, and he was my hero because he's the first dobro player I ever heard on a Flat and Scruggs record. So I go over to Maryville, and we're all set. I've got my hair done, fixed that day, or not done, got a haircut, got me some new clothes and everything, and And Josh was bad about drinking back in those days, really bad. And, well, oh gosh, I can't talk now, but anyway, I heard he was. So anyway, we go over to the Capitol Theater, and I'm there, and somebody says, "Hey, Josh just came in the back." So I go running to get to the closest restroom to make sure my hair's good so I can meet Josh. Well, I go busting in this door and slam the door, only opens about 4 inches, pop, and I hear somebody go, hey. Oh, I finally get in because I've knocked somebody hard. Oh, Josh is in there on his all fours, and he's throwing up in the toilet. Got sick. I think he had a virus. But anyway.
It's on TV too.
Yeah. Oh, is it okay? Well, all right. Anyway, he was taking medicine. So anyway, Josh turned around and I said, "Hey, I'm introducing myself. I don't give this guy a minute. He's down on his all fours." And it's like I said. Hey, Mr. Graves, I'm a big fan of yours. I play dobro, and he looks up, and he's still got something on his face, and he reaches up and he shakes my hand. Well, I guess where he had been down straddling the toilet throwing up, a lot of men's bathrooms, they're not like women's because a lot of guys miss it, So I remember he reached up to shake my hand, and his hand kind of stuck to a little bit. So, that was my meeting with Josh, my hero, and somebody had asked me, said, "Oh, I bet you didn't wash that hand for a month." I said, I washed it immediately. That's the only time. But that was two of my heroes right there, Josh and Monroe. And something always happens, you have a good memory of it.
Oh, yeah. That's a good memory.
Especially Josh. But, later on it was funny because Josh, in his later years, he became pretty ill. And I had worked at a hospital in Nashville. I was a nurse. And anyway, Josh really got down pretty bad. And I was living in Knoxville at the time. I'd moved back home. But we had raised a bunch of money for Josh. And I contacted some friends I knew. Everything you do in life has connections to it. And one of my connections was some good physical therapists and occupational therapists, and they went to Josh's house, looked and saw exactly what he needed, and we were able to raise enough money for him and had some guys back then it was through MySpace, guys that came and went to Josh's house, and through donations from everybody plus Home Depot had gave us a bunch of stuff that we were able to get people in there to build him a 100-foot ramp to his car where he'd get in his wheelchair. They went through and changed his house, changed doors, handicap shower. So it's kind of neat, you meet your hero like that, and later on down the line,
able to help him.
You're able to be their friend, and help and stuff. And God knows since then I've had a lot of people help me. So it's a circle of things.
How'd you come to know Mike Kelly? He talks a lot about you.
Yeah, well, it's funny, Mike. Through bluegrass, Mike's always been into bluegrass. And I met him, I can still remember right where I was. We were walking from, first time I saw Allison Krauss.
Okay.
I was coming out of the U.S. Amphitheater. This is after the World's Fair, which I worked at the World's Fair almost every day. I think there was 2 days we didn't work. But this was after the fair, and I saw Allison, not sure what year it's after I had come back from Nashville, so it was probably late 90s, and this guy comes up to me, and it's kind of funny. He says, "I don't know who you are, but I hate you." And I said, he says, "I know who you are, but I hate you." And I said, "You do?" He goes, "Yeah." He said, "Because I've heard some things about you from Adam Steffi. And we started laughing at that point. And Mike goes, I'm just kidding you. My name's Mike Kelly. And he was down there, he was following Blue Highway a lot. Then Mike was, which he still does. Yeah. We all do. But from then on, we just became buddies. Mike's always been good to me, good family, and think the world of him.
He's a good guy. He does a lot for us.
What was the first year that you won Nobel Player of the Year?
Well,
you worked a show that night with Peyton Manning, you remember?
Yeah, it's kind of funny how this all come about. I had, for a lot of people who know me, I've going through a bunch of cancer, a lot. I'm a 5-time survivor now of Hodgkin's lymphoma. And anyway, I guess that story comes a little bit later, but in 2005, the IBMA, it was the first year they had it at the Ryman, which the IBMA is the International Bluegrass Music Association. And I'm real proud that the first year they ever had it, I think it was the first and only year that I was able in 2005 to win a Dobro Player of the Year plus Instrumental Recording of the Year. I won 2 that night. So I got to go up on the stage at the Ryman.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was kind of funny because Jerry Douglas, who's one of my good friends and heroes, I used to watch him in a time long ago when Buddy's Barbecue had bluegrass, and I met Ricky Skaggs there, and Vince Gill, Keith Whitley, and all those guys. They all played at Buddy's, which Buddy's used to be where the banquet hall is now. And anyway, it was funny because that night, me and my wife and son are sitting there at the Ryman, and I was predicting everybody, and I was hitting them. I mean, I was like, winner is, and I'd look over and say, whoever, and I was hitting it. I was 100%. So they named Dobro, and said, just listen. I look over and said, Jerry Douglas, like that. And my son looks over, starts clapping, and I'm thinking, he was all excited about Jerry Douglas. I'm on the ballot, too. And he goes, you won. And I wouldn't get up because I didn't hear my name. I had called Jerry Douglas. So then my wife looks up and goes, you've won. And I still wouldn't go. So I finally said here, and I look, and I thought, well, I guess I better stand up or something like that. Well, about that time, I stand up. Jerry Douglas stands up, and I think, oh, gosh, I better look like I'm going to the restroom. And then about that time, I see Jerry looking at me, clapping his hands, and giving me a thumb. And I think I did win. So anyway, we went up on stage that night, and I actually got to play that night with Marty Rabin from Shenandoah. We put together something, played. But anyway, in 2004, I won that. And what's weird, in 2011, I got diagnosed with cancer and didn't think I'd ever play again. I got really bad, and I got better after 3 times, three times survivor then. And but I played when I could. I still played. And I look back now, thinking, well, a lot of people did a lot more than I did, but I realized how much effort it took me to play because I was sick, but I wasn't going to give up. And that year, I drug over to IBMA in Raleigh and thought, I'm going to go over here. I don't know if I'll go to the award show because I just don't feel like getting out of my room. Well, I won that night. I was surprised because I thought it was over with. Well, this past summer, I had a bad relapse. I was hired to take over booking music, all the talent of Bean Blossom, which we'll get into that in a minute, but it's interesting because Bean Blossom was Bill Monroe's music part, and I went there when I was a kid, and it just blew me away. And then here I am now working the music, working for Bean Blossom. I mean, that's what I do now. So anyway, I had a long, really long week up there. I wasn't well, and which, Sam will get into in a few minutes with our buddy Rodney Dillard. Me and Rodney spent a lot of time together, but I don't remember much of it. People knew I was sick, but I didn't realize. So I get back home, and if you know much about medical stuff, I had sepsis, which is pretty bad. I had E. coli, which is fatal in a lot of times.
Yeah.
I had pneumonia. I had shingles, and my cancer had came back. So I was in UT for about a month and told all my family bye. This was in late June. Told everybody but my wife. I was holding out on her because I didn't want to really flip her too bad. But I had told my brother and my sister-in-law, because I knew there's that point, when you're going. I knew I was. And anyway, it was just kind of weird. One night, things just kind of flipped, and I know what that was, and I was well the next day, and was home before long. So anyway, make a long story short, it's 2 months later, and I'm back at IBMA. Everybody said, "You think you can make it over? You think you can make it over?" And it's like, well, yeah, I'm going to, because I'm nominated again. And anyway, I go to the award show. You never think about winning, but you do sit and think about things a little bit, because I'm sitting here, they give me second row seats and all, and I'm sitting here looking at the steps because they don't have handrails on them. I could barely walk. And I wasn't thinking about winning, but you still look and think, well, it's one of five. I'm one of 5 names on this ballot, and there's a chance they're going to call my name, but I hope they don't, because I can't get up those steps. So then a guy from the IBMA comes around and said, if you were to win tonight, are you good getting up those steps? And it gets me thinking a little bit more. So it's funny. While I'm sitting here looking at these steps, trying to figure out, well, if they call me, but they're not going to call me. If they call me, they're not going to call me. Back and forth, and all of a sudden, boom, they call me. And they called my name, and it's almost like a thing like, wow, I'm really glad about this, but
how am I going to get up steps?
There's about 1,200 people in here, and I'm trying to walk. And you're on time. It's on time, but it's funny. You've only got a few seconds or a minute to get up on stage and do all your stuff. And it surprised me, all the people, including my son, who was sitting with me, that came up to help me get up on stage. And it's funny, one guy looked a lot like, that helped me, looked a lot like the guy that was the head of our record label. And I was sure it was him, and I even thanked him on stage and everything. And I looked at the pictures now, it wasn't him, it was another guy. My friend wasn't even there, but I guess it's good I thanked him. So anyway, make it short, I won Dobro in 2014, and then this past year, and then there's an organization called Spigma. It's a big one out of Missouri, and I won Dobro Player of the Year there this year. So me and a guy named Alan Bobby, who's in a band that I have now called All Stars of Bluegrass, we're 2 of the only people that's won both organizations the same year, and we both won this year. So very cool. Yeah, it's a big thing. Once I got up the steps, I knew I was good.
Getting up the steps was a big thing.
The person you won, we got to work with Peyton and Kenny, you remember?
Yeah, the person I won, they were doing Peyton Manning's retirement party for his jersey from UT. And anyway, Zane Daniel, great guy, love Zane, asked me if I'd come be part of this party they were having for Peyton. So I'd won the night before, and I made it a point. I got up the next morning and stuff, and they have like winter celebration with the press and all. Even though it's my first year, and it was a big year, because you never know if you're going to win another one. You just assume it's not going to happen. But I bypassed all that to get back to Knoxville, because David and Zane and all those guys were doing a retirement party for Peyton at his jersey. And we went out to Zane's house. We met everybody. Archie Manning was there, Eli, David Cutcliffe.
Wow.
Kenny Chesney. A lot of people were there.
We worked with us, yeah.
Con Hunley. Luke, yeah. And Jason D. Williams, a great piano player.
Yeah, boy.
But it was funny.
I got to hear him.
It was funny that night, because Jason was playing piano, and I'll never forget, as the night went, Peyton, it's kind of like, you remember the Charlie Brown and Christmas where Snoopy's on the piano, and they catch him singing, he kind of gets off. Well, Peyton had a reverse on that. Peyton was getting he was getting closer to the piano as the night went, and before you know it, he's sitting down beside Con. And then the next thing you know, Peyton's requesting songs, and then he's requesting the ones that he knows, and he's singing them with Con, wasn't he? So it was a fun night. It was worth driving home, and then I had to leave there and drive back to Nashville immediately afterwards because we were playing the next day. Anyway, that was my memories of 05. It was a lot of good stuff happened in just like 2 or 3 days there.
That's amazing. Great stuff.
Hey, if you don't care, I want you to tell us. This has got to be funny. What year did you go with Grandpa Jones?
89.
89. You got to tell us a funny story too about Grandpa.
The ones I can tell about Grandpa I really can't say on the radio because a lot of them are really funny with stuff. I know Grandpa was. I'll just tell you some of his little quirks. I can't tell you the real Grandpa stories. But Grandpa, a couple things about him. He wouldn't eat anywhere but Bob Evans. And, they're not everywhere.
No, they're not everywhere.
So we would drive. This is back in the days before you had your phones, and we had a book. And George McCormick played with us. It played with Porter Wagner for many years. And Grandpa, George, get the little book out and see where the Bob Evans is. Well, Paul, there's one up around Dayton, Ohio. How far are we from that one? We're about 6 hours. Well, you boys hold on to 6 hours to eat. Well, I guess we can. We'd go up the road, we'd find Bob Evans, and Grandpa was just all happy, with that. Okay, now his other little thing was he wouldn't stay anywhere but Holiday Inn. And they were phasing out at the time. And I remember we'd drive, and we'd drive, and we'd drive, and we'd drive, and we'd finally find a Holiday Inn. Well, all the guys in the band, they would drive a tank of gas out. That's the way we did. We had an RV, and we would drive to a tank of gas was gone. And then when that was done,
you switched
drivers. So I had just come in the band. I was about 23. And Grandpa, he always called me Otto. OTTO. Don't know where it came from, but he said that he knew a man back in the one of the barn dance days. I wanted to think named Otto that had loaned him some money one time, and he just took on to that name, called me Otto. Nobody knows where it comes from other than there. So Grandpa, he said, "Well, Otto, it's your chance to get up behind the wheel and see what you can do." It was like I was getting there, so I didn't want to drive. I didn't want to a bit. So what I did is I just said, I want to drive as sloppy as I can, which wasn't hard because I've not driven an RV before. So anyway, after I curbed the tires 2 or 3 times and went the wrong way, turned up a wrong way ramp, and when I turned the wrong way to get out, I just cut across the median, the concrete, boom, like this. Grandpa, we finally get to a gas station, and Grandpa says, "Well, Otto, I don't think your forte's driving." So after that point, we would get in there, everybody be staying up to drive, and I'd get in the back and go to bed. So, but Grandpa, it was a little different, but I played with him, worked with Vern Gosden for a little bit, and but I always, J.D. Crowe was my hero playing music, and I saw him with Keith Whitley and stuff. But the first time I saw him at the Coliseum, I remember the curtain coming up, and he used to have a dobro player, which was Jerry Douglas. Curtain comes up, and I only count 4 sets of legs. I didn't know Jerry Douglas was gone, and I come to see Jerry Douglas. So, I'll get into this story because it's interesting, but I was a nurse in Nashville, and I never did like being a nurse. I just didn't feel like that was my thing that I was supposed to do. And it was real rainy one day, and back then they had the Watts line that the doctors could use, not the nurses. You stay away from them. Well, Watts line was back here in the back. This is before they had AT&T cards. A lot of people don't even know what those are now, or you could get the phone cards. So I go back on that Watts line, and I called directory in Lexington. I knew J.D. lived up that way, and believe it or not, J.D. Crow comes up, and they find his number. So I call, and I get this little scratchy voice on the answer machine, and I thought, oh, that's not J.D. Crow. So I try back a little bit later, and then the same scratchy voice answers, it's J.D. Crow. And anyway, we talk a little bit, and I had a buddy named Tony King. Tony was, he played with Brooks and Dunn for quite a few years. He lived around here. We played Gatlinburg together, and Tony is actually a staff full-time harmony singer at the Grand Ole Opry now, so it's pretty good to walk in and sing and get paid.
Yeah, really.
And Tony deserves all that because he worked hard for it. So anyway, Tony was playing with J.D. Crow at the time, and he just moved to Lexington, so I called Crow, and I was trying to break some ice, make connections. Hey, I'm friends with Tony King and everything like that. And we get talking, and J.D., told me, he said, I knew who you were. People had mentioned your name. I knew you played a dobro, and while we're talking, I'm thinking, hey, this is really good, And then J.D. says, I never did like dobro players. And I said, you didn't? Why not? And he said, well, when Flat and Scruggs hired Josh, it knocked Earl out of an extra banjo break. Only banjo players look at it like that. Instead of Earl having 20 breaks, now he's got 18. That wasn't enough. So, but JD told me, he says, but we got Jerry Douglas in, and I started liking, the sound of the dobro and the music, and said, I want you to come and record with me on this album. So it was real funny. He asked me, he said, can you come up next week? I said, yeah, I wasn't sure if my car would make it up there, but I had to go to Lexington, and I went up and we rehearsed a few things like that. JD says, okay, oh boys, I'll be hollering at you so we get together again next week or something like that. And anyway, it was like 3 years later, I made a record with him called Flashback. It was Grammy nominated, but he never told me I was hired. And I kept going. Now, I'd been with him. We were going down the road for some festivals. Our bass player had been with him maybe 2 years longer than I had. So we're going down the road, and JD says something to me. He says, Phil, I told you that back when you was hired. I said, back when? He said, back when you was hired. I said, hired? He said, yeah. I said, that's the first time you told me I've been hired in the band. Well, Kurt, the bass player, says, well, you never told me I was hired. And JD said, yeah, that's right, I didn't, and just turned his seat back around and never told him. And so Kurt left JD about the time when I did, but I had been hired and Kurt never had been. But we had a lot of fun with JD. JD opened so many doors for me. I got to see a lot of places I never did. Went overseas. I got to play in London with JD at the Barbican Theater, which was huge. We went in there and played Us in the Country Gentlemen Nashville Bluegrass Band, and it was crazy how people treated you over there. It's like, I told JD, I said, they kind of treat you like Elvis Presley over here. And he said, well, he said, as far as bluegrass bands go, probably, but he said Elvis is a whole different thing. I said, oh, yeah, I know that. But these people actually let us park up front and everything like that. So it's, I had a lot of good times with him, But I'll tell you something funny on when I mentioned the Flashback record. Tut Taylor, great friend. We talked about Tut on the way over, a great dobro player. We got to be buddies, and Anyway, Tuck called me while we were doing a flashback record. Asked, Tuck was always matter of fact. He wouldn't tell you anything much. He'd say, "Hey, Phil, I wanted to see what you're doing Tuesday." And I looked at my calendar. Well, I'm up in wherever we did our first album. I think we were in Louisville. I'm up in Louisville working on this J.D. Crowe album. "Oh, you're busy on Tuesday?" Because me and Tuck would do things a lot. We'd go places. So I figured it's a Nashville trip he's wanting to do. He says, "So you're busy?" I said, "Yeah." And he said, "Oh, shoot." I said, "Okay." Didn't think anything about it. I go and record. Well, I didn't realize they had started an album called The Great Dope Bro Sessions. And that was the one that was up against us and won the Grammy with J.D.
He was going to have you play on it, huh?
Yeah, but he didn't tell me. If he'd have just told me, "Hey,"
might have made an arrangement.
I would have told. I would have told J.D., "You're going to have to get a fiddle for today or something." But things work out the way they do.
They work out.
He had the whole J.D. Crowe band at Ciderville.
Yeah, we all stopped out there one day, went to your place, and then went to Roy's Records. You remember that?
We had a good session.
Yeah, we had a good time. We come out by, and then Crowe wanted to go. He knew Roy had one of Merle Haggard's cars. It was a Trans Am, but that Merle had... I think Merle had lost it in a poker game, and somebody had bought it, and then Roy had it, and I think Roy still got it. But J.D. wanted to see that. He was a Trans Am guy, and so we had a good day in Knoxville.
T-Bird for him in Mexico.
Yeah, he's out of his car space right now. Last time I was up there. So anyway, that's a little bit of J.D. Crowe. I didn't mean to take away from all you guys.
Oh, no.
I'm just talking.
You remember the first time I met you up in, was it the Blue Cross, what was it, the old Joe Clark Festival in Renfrew Valley?
Yeah.
My father-in-law, Doyle, was a huge fan of yours, and would always, anytime he was around, I wanted to see you, but you'd come see him at the store, so I'd take him up to the festival. The Renfrew Valley, this is mid-90s, late 90s. You
remember that well?
Talking about when you was being with J.D. Crowe. So we go up there, and we see the lineup. J.D. Crowe's on the lineup. He goes, "Oh, man," he said, "I hope Phil's with him." I said, "You know him?" He said, "Yeah, I think I probably talked to him." I said, "Man, I'd love to meet him." And so we saw the record tape, and I come over and met you. And
that's a surprise, right? A long time. And I had no idea you were Barney back then either.
I still don't know that. I was telling you, when we met at the Lowe's, I didn't really know you then, but this is funny. Matt was still lit. He was in high school.
My son, he was in high school.
High school, but I met him at Lowe's on Clinton Highway one day. I was over there, just ran into him in the aisle. We get to talking. Well, it's about an hour goes by. And Phil all of a sudden looks down and he goes, "Oh, no, I got to go. I got to pick up my son."
Yeah, I'm bad about that.
When's the first time you played on the Grand Ole Opry?
With J.D. Crowe, and you're supposed to remember dates like that. But it would have been probably, here we go, it'd probably been around 99, maybe.
Remember the lineup? Who else was on the show?
I don't. I know a lot of the regulars were on there, of course. I know Buck White and the Whites were on there, which I later wound up playing with them until the time I got sick. But, the first night is hard to remember because it's like you're in a fog. You're at the Grand Ole Opry. And I remember walking out because we played the new Opry the first time. I've been lucky to play the Ryman and, the new Opry. But the new Opry, it was like, when you walk out on stage, it's like, wow, I'm here to Opry. Yeah. And what a lot of people don't know, I'll tell you a little trivia on the Opry. Everybody, will talk about, they say, I got to stand on that center circle where everybody stood. They don't realize that center circle's not where everybody stood, because if you go to the Ryman and you're able to go backstage like I did, they cut the center circle from the back behind the curtain because the wood was in better shape.
Oh, really?
And that's what's brought back. So it's kind of a disappointment that's not the real circle.
I didn't know that.
You know, yeah. If you ever do a drive-in tour, look in the back. They may have fixed it by now, but that circle is where they took from the back. Yeah.
I always thought it was from stage center, right?
I guess a lot of the stars stood on it, probably walking across, but it's not stage center. But I remember, going out and looking at that and thinking, wow, this is really neat.
Well, I've heard you hear so many of those artists talk about standing right here on this piece of wood where Hank Williams stood.
That's probably where Hank was standing when he was asking if he could go back on stage, and they said, no, you're too drunk, Hank.
Right backstage.
But I've got a real cool picture playing the Opry album to get us a good center stage, and somebody it was our banjo player's wife had took a picture, and it came out really good, and I thought, well, that's good. I'm not going to tell nobody, center stage is back here, but heck, we're on radio, they know now. But yeah, it was a very special place, getting to play both of them.
You and I both are huge Keith Whitley fans.
Yeah.
Tell the story about, you said that when you was working, one of your patients was Webb Pierce at one time or something.
Yeah.
But Keith's bus or
I can fill you in on both those. When Keith died, I lived in Hendersonville, and I didn't know Keith, but I'd met Keith a few times because he played with J.D. Crowe also. But later in life, I knew, even after Keith was gone, I got to know Keith a lot better because J.D. talked so much about him, And Keith was just a really, from what I knew of Keith, from what people told me, especially J.D., he was a regular guy that never realized what was going on around him, how big he was getting.
He didn't understand his talent.
Didn't understand, and it was so much. J.D. said that what he felt like with Keith, that he felt like he was thrown to the alligators because Keith didn't, it happened so quick with him. And anyway, when we were in Nashville, I knew where Keith lived and everything like that. He lived close by, but he always parked his bus next to where we lived. We lived at some apartments, first moved, and there was a grocery store there, and Keith had his big white bus there, and Lori would drop him off. He had a little Corvette. I still remember his license plate said "Wet Bomb" on the back, and anyway, Keith, she'd always drop him off there at the bus, and sometimes he would be a little early, before the band come in, and I'd look for a reason to go over there to the store and get something and wind up talking to him. But I saw him just a few days before he passed away, and I was working at the hospital at the time as a nurse where they brought him when he died, which I didn't know he was the one to come in, but somebody had told me he'd come in through ER at the time. But man, he was just such an incredible singer, Keith was. And just really, the times I was around him, just an awesome guy. And I always felt like if he had lived, what we saw, you can't predict things, but he had the same management that took up Garth Brooks afterwards. Wow. I think it was Jack McFadden. And if he had have lived, it's hard to say. They were ready for a Garth Brooks. Keith could have been that because Keith had everything. He had the talent. He had the voice, definitely, for it. Had the looks. He was young, and he was married to Lori Morgan. They were like the big, they were the new George and Tammy in town and stuff. And it's just weird because I remember living in Nashville at that time, and Nashville was really on fire with things going on. And it seemed like when Keith died, it was like it kind of, I don't know. I think
slowed things down.
Yeah, I think it was kind of a time when people looked at things and thought, this guy right here was somebody we were looking at. He was our hero, one of our music heroes, and all of a sudden, boom,
gone.
And it's the same thing. It's like look at today, March 5th. That's I won't say It's not 57, but 1963. Patsy Cline, this was the day of her crash. And, that was kind of the same thing. I mean, Patsy had number ones happening and everything, and then boom, she's gone.
Yeah.
So you never know about your heroes.
Never know about any
of us. Yeah.
March the 5th, it's today's 20th anniversary. My dad passed away. I started trading time sheet. Yeah,
wow, buddy, I'm sorry. I didn't know that.
No. Talking about Earl Scruggs. We was talking about Earl coming out here, and you brought him in. A lot of people don't know it, but I know they play on Wild Wings a lot.
Yeah, this was kind of funny. I knew a girl that was taking care of Earl. And it's just funny. You forget all these things. People like Sammy remind you things you forget about. But we were talking about this earlier. Or we was talking about some other Earl. We hadn't talked about this one, but we played Wild Wings Cafe quite a bit out west. And anyway, the girl was taking care of him at the time said, Earl's wanting to do a road trip this week. I said, well, you need to bring him to Knoxville, bring him down to Wild Wings Cafe. I was being stupid with it. She said, where's that at? And I said, well, if you come into Knoxville, it's 373. Well, I have to drive all the way through Knoxville. I mean, it's like Knoxville's, I started to say, it ain't like you're driving through New York City, but sometimes Knoxville can be like that. It can be like that. So I said, no, this is right on the edge of Knoxville. You don't even come into Knoxville. Well, me and Earl may take a trip down. He's wanting to get out. I thought, yeah. So anyway, talked to her a few weeks later. She brings it up again. I didn't. And I said, well, gosh, that would really flip people out.
Earl Scruggs, yeah.
So I'm starting to think Earl's going to come down here. So anyway, I did find out Earl was going to come down. And the last thing I wanted to do, I didn't want to go getting all, telling everybody, telling everybody, say, hey, get your cameras down here. Earl's here. Earl didn't want that. So it was kind of funny. I kept telling Roger Harb, who was at the station, I kept telling Roger Harb and Freddie Smith over there, I said, Earl Scruggs is coming by tonight. And Roger kind of blew, he thought about it and he kind of just let it go. Well, Freddie just kept hanging around because he's thinking, well, there's a chance Earl might be here. Well, it started snowing real bad and people was thinning out. And finally, it's not near the end of the night. We getting ready to do our second set. And somebody said, hey, there's a big Cadillac dropped some man off the front door. And I said, that sounds like Earl. Next thing we know, here comes Earl Scruggs and my friend, and they're standing out there, and people start pointing, and you can see, it was funny. Freddie's on his phone. A few minutes later, Roger's back down there and everything. So anyway, we get there, and Earl sits down, and he eats. He has him some wings. I'll never forget that. Some boneless wings. And then he wants to play some.
On spec.
So he gets up and plays. Now, the people who's down for the bluegrass, they're all like, oh, this is Earl Scruggs.
Oh, yeah.
And it was strange. All these people sitting around had no idea who he was. And probably the same people, like a lot of us, that years later says, yeah, I saw Earl Scruggs one time
at Wild Wings.
And people won't ever believe that story. But we got him in down there that night, and he had a good time, with it. But and I got pictures of it. We were lucky to get that. But anyway, that was like that was kind of a strange night.
Had the video, the Christmas song, is Jingle Bells, isn't it?
Yeah. That was a big deal. I had a endorsement with Gibson Guitars, and then Gibson started building my own signature model, and they built up to the Floods, and then the Floods came into Nashville and shut the acoustic division down, and they discontinued all their acoustic stuff. Well, one year they decided they were going to jump in like July and do a video for Gibson. And we just thought we're going there and play. You know, it was Earl Scruggs, Sam Bush, Ricky Skaggs, Randy and Gary Scruggs. And they call us in, and they say, we're going to let you guys do Jingle Bells. This will be for our website. And sure enough, it came that year, and it was on their website. You know, watch it on your phone. We're about that big. You can't tell Ricky Skaggs from Benjamin Franklin, which you can't now hardly. But anyway, I'll tell you something about that in a minute.
Okay. Comedy.
But anyway. We do that video, and then I guess after Gibson shut down their stuff, CMT GAC picked it up. Every Christmas boom is on TV.
It's on YouTube.
It's on YouTube a lot. Now, when I said that about Benjamin Franklin, you know, Ricky's lead singer out. And when I played with the Whites, it was funny. Sharon said, "Hey, it's Ricky. I just got to let him do what he wants to." So I got a picture of Ricky, and Ricky, when he first got out, he's holds his... He holds like $300 bills of Benjamin Franklin, and it looks just like Ricky's got them up beside his head. So he knows that. But yeah, that was a fun video.
Did you happen to bring, because y'all been in the studio, y'all been actually recording and doing stuff over, we pulled up on the phone maybe we take a break, and you and Steve Gully and Alan Bobby and... I forgot to bring mine. You've got when is it going to be released?
Well, this is something real special we're doing. It's the All-Stars. I tried to get the best people that have been, I don't know, the people that I knew that had been in bluegrass that had really made waves, which questions why I'm in there. I don't know that far. But I went and got Steve Gully and Alan Bobby. Alan, the great mandolin player. Steve Gully, he's right up the road from us.
Tazewell, wasn't he?
Yep, Tazewell, Cumberland Gap, actually. And Steve DJs a little bit, too. But Steve's my buddy. We go back to the first night I met Josh Graves, since I met Steve. And anyway, Steve Gully, we had Claire Lynch, who was a big singer, and Claire moved to Canada. I don't know why there's no drafts going on, but she moved up there. But no, Claire moved up there. She married a guy in Canada and moved up there. So anyway, got a guy named Robert Hale. He used to work with me, worked with J.D. Crowe, worked with us in a band called Wildfire. And Jason Burleson, the guy that plays banjo for Blue Highway. Yeah. And so what I did, I started like 3 bands, been part of them, and the next thing I know, I'm not in them anymore because I don't know, I get different ideas. What happens a lot of times with bands, you go in and you're not a singer. The singers take off, do their stuff, they start going another direction, and sometimes you go a direction you don't want to go. Either it's something that's already been covered, or it's just, I don't like that direction very much, so you just start another band, you know. So this time, what I did is the record company told me, said, "Phil, start your band and put your name on it." I just didn't ever feel good about that because I never thought, it's hard to stick your name on something to me. Unless you're David West Side or Mountain Boys, you can do that. David knows what I mean with that. Yeah. But with me, it was hard because I just didn't see myself as a front person. But they kept telling me, said, it's not about that. So go ahead. What this does is this gets this and lets you know that this is what you're doing. So we decided to do this. We call ourselves, well, I never say it, but my name and All Stars Bluegrass. And it's funny because I'm with such good guys. You kind of hate to spring something on them and say that because some people's egos are too big ever to let them go play for somebody, you know what I mean? But I always said like this, I said, yeah, I'm going to do this, but Steve goes, his own band, Steve Gully, New Pinnacle. Alan Bobby, Grasstown, Jason Burleson, he's with Blue Highway, but everybody knows that. So anyway, we decided to do this, and man, it's been taken off really good. First album's going to be coming out, it looks like right now, probably in May.
Okay.
And I'd have to say it's probably the best thing I've been part of, because we're going in where I used to go in with bands, and sometimes you go in with bands and everybody's egos are pushing to do this or that. We've done this so long that everybody just came in and said, hey, let's just don't worry about who sings how many or whatever. Let's just do the best stuff we can do, and I don't care who sings it. And the thing in my situation is I used to be a singer. I don't sing anymore, but I just said, hey, guys, this is what I see. I see you singing this, or you so-and-so singing this. So let's just try it out what you think about it. And these guys have kind of just like took it on themselves to really make this thing a good record.
Everything's clicking.
Yeah.
So we can pull this one up. This is one Steve Warner wrote. Sings on it.
Yeah.
Can we pull that up, you think?
Is it out there yet?
I can.
Yeah, well, maybe if it's on Facebook, I know that you can pull it up through like not iTunes, but I don't think it's on Spotify yet. I think it's on some of the sites like something's direct something, but we can find it somewhere.
What's it called?
It's called I Want to Go Back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Steve Warner. Me and Steve's got to be good friends, and for those who don't know, Steve Warner's he's huge in country music.
Great guitar player.
And a great singer and a great writer. And me and Steve got to be friends during the days of Wildfire. And what happened with that is we did one of his songs, and we met him, and he was just real nice. Well, when I got sick, we got to start to be close, and Steve actually came into town a couple of years ago to go to Louis. I've been talking about Louis, so I took Steve Warner to Louis. And
one of David's favorite places.
Heck yeah, buddy. Well, David owns half of the building. But anyway,
they tried to sell it me one time. Sure,
I'd say they did. They never tried to sell it to me. They know better. But Steve Warner, we took Steve out there. Nobody knew who he was. Steve just blended in. But yeah, but we took Steve out there, and we had a good time. But something cool I'll tell you about Steve. This shows you what kind of guy he is. It's just two little things. When I did my record, or my second solo record, Steve let me use his studio for some songs, and he wrote a song and then he played on a song. So what's real neat, I've not done anything with this song yet, but when I went into my fourth revision at Vanderbilt, Steve called me, and I have a message, it's on my phone. And I see where he had called. Well, I was in just bad traffic. I couldn't listen to him then, That looks like it right there. I couldn't do anything because I'm in this traffic. Well, I see where Steve Warner calls. So Steve called me again. Hey, Phil, have you checked your voicemail? I said, no, man, I'm in traffic right now. I'll check it. Call me when you check it. I'll left you a message. So I'm thinking this could be good. I wonder what he's left.
Something's up.
Well, anyway, I've got this song on my voicemail, totally produced, fixed, everything, instruments. Steve plays everything too. He played this song. He had played guitar on it. He had played drums on it. When I'm saying play drums, I'm saying this guy is good. He's good on everything. He had played pedal steel on it.
Oh wow, I had no idea.
He's a monster pedal steel player, monster bass player. You didn't play bass with Dottie West, and but anyway, he's incredible. He had played every instrument and sung on this. Well, I listened to this song, and it's like I'm sitting here listening. I said, God, man, this is such a this song's really this it's kind of strange. It's good he sent this to me. It's really hitting home right now with what I've been through. So he calls me back and said, "Did you listen to the song?" I said, "Yeah, it was great." He said, I wanted to get you that. I said, I've been, working on it for a while. He said, just talking to you and know about what you and your wife are going through. He said, I wrote that song about you all. And he started listening, and it's like, yeah, because he's talking about East Tennessee, Smoky Mountains and all this, but I didn't realize it.
You didn't realize it's about you?
No, and he said, take that song and keep it and do something with it. And I've not done anything with it yet, but I'm going to put it on record one day. He sings it and everything, and it's incredible. It's really good. I mean, Steve Warner writes you a song.
Tell us about this. He wrote this song too, right? I want to go back.
Yeah, I went down to his house, and he had a whole bunch of tunes like Steve always has. And I do have to tell you this because this will make a lot of sense. Steve writes all the time. And when I first went down, Steve I said, have you got some more songs that you wrote? Because I used to write a lot with a guy named Harley Allen. Harley was really big, bluegrass guy. And Steve says, you don't want to hear what I've been writing these days. And I said, why not? He said, I'm working as a writer now, and I'm having to write some of his different stuff. So Steve starts playing this music for me, and it's about being at the beach and all. And Steve keeps pointing at me. He goes, don't you laugh. He said, I'll come up there and twist your head off if you laugh at this. And he keeps putting his head down in his hand and doing this. And he says, man, he said, I'm having to write this stuff for some of the new artists, and some of them he mentioned, I'm not going to mention their names, but it was funny.
I can guess.
Well, a lot of it takes place at the beach and surfing and things like that, and drinking a whole lot, which Steve don't do that. And Steve said, I'm making more money off this stuff writing one song than I have a whole bunch. Uh-huh. And I said, Steve, that's not the music that I hear from you, but no way I could laugh at you because you're racking up. You're doing the right thing. So anyway, he gives me these songs, and we get looking at them, and he said, here's some that I can't use because, he said, country radio don't want this stuff. And he wrote this tune here. It's called I Want to Go Back, and he wrote it about 15 years ago. And we've got on my Facebook, I've actually got a video where Steve's talking about it. But he did it like 15 years ago, and everything now just has outdated this song.
I understand.
But it's about, it's about going home and in your mind of things that's not there anymore.
Let's take a listen to it.
Yeah.
There's a feeling that always hits me. Around forever, but it'll never be the same.
WISH, there you go. So Steve was singing on that.
Yeah, Steve Gully and Steve Warner, Steve and Steve. The Steves.
So that's coming out this year?
Right now. It's actually charted off on Bluegrass charts. A couple weeks back, it debuted at number 5, I think, last week.
Oh, wow.
So that's good.
That is good.
For a new band. Because, see, our name don't mean nothing to anybody because they don't really know our names a lot. But as people find out who the band is, that's going to help. So I think this album will keep moving. We'll know again Friday. Bluegrass charts about every week. So I'm not one of those that sets my alarm at 5 a.m. to see if I'm on the chart. I just
I did. It was 6 last week.
Was it 6 last week? Yeah, dropped down one. That's right. So it's been 5 and 6.
None of my buddies keep up.
You know, he reminds me of my birthday. Sammy's.
We're a week apart.
Yeah, ain't that something?
Good people were born in April, right, David?
30th.
I'm April. April 28th. My twins, April 29th.
I'm March 31st.
There you go.
But it's that recording was a lot of fun to do. But we've got. I'll tell you kind of what's going to be on the record.
Okay.
A lot of people think that they should be secretive about this, but I won't sell some. So I'm going to tell people what's on there. Got a good buddy that I've not known long, but it seemed like in the little time I've known him, we've become good friends. A guy named Bob Minner. Bob plays guitar for Tim McGraw. He's actually been with him like 27 years, he said. And saw Bob in Nashville a few months back, so where I actually met him. And we've stayed like emails like crazy, back and forth about stuff. And Bob sent us some songs that were really good and that he had wrote. And one of my favorite songs that he wrote is one we recorded on there. And the title slips me right now. I should remember that. I'll remember it in a minute. I blame it on my chemo drugs. I blame a lot of stuff on that. I blame when I forget to take the trash to the dump on my chemo and stuff. But anyway, guys like him, we did a remake on a tune that Skaggs had called One Way Rider. We're going to do something kind of cool with it because it was just a really good song. Ricky played all the time. Closing song is kind of in the wind. And what we're going to do, we've not done this part yet. This will finish the album up, but all of us can play electric instruments too. Bobby can play electric mandolin like Skaggs. And we're going to do a hidden track where we're going to hit it all electric.
Oh, wow.
I'm going to play lap steel and stuff like that. But we've got some good stuff. We've got some obscure stuff. We've got stuff people's written, like I mentioned, Bob Minner, and we had a couple other writers come in, but. This album is going to be really good because what we did is just we looked at what fit people, what people could do, as far as singing wise, and this band is really good for the fact we've got 3 lead singers. That's kind of strange in a band. And having 3 lead singers, you can go a lot of different directions.
Whatever you want to do.
Go a lot of different directions with that because I got a Gully who could sing really high, Alan Bobby who sings in the middle, and Robert Hale that just sings great wherever he wants to sing. And between both of them, because Bobby and Gully, Steve Gully he's one of the best singers on the planet, and he can do anything too. So we've got Steve playing bass on this. When I first met Steve, he was playing bass, and Steve always sells himself short of stuff. I can't play a bass, but Steve can play. He's a really good bass player. But let me tell you a quick Gully story. You'll like this. I got a million stories on him because we run the roads together. He's my riding partner. But the story I want to tell you, it's kind of neat, is one that me and Steve both tell. He tells us on stage, but the Kentucky Horse Park in Lexington, first place I got to play with J.D. Crowe. Well, not first place. First major festival I got to play. And so anyway, we're here in Lexington, and I'd been out of the music business for a while as far as I lost track of a lot of bluegrass. I didn't know who the bands were because I was down in Nashville. And anyway, I hadn't saw Steve in a long time. It'd been like 10 years. So anyway, J.D. pulls up, and here's Doyle Lawson's bus. Doyle's always had a bus. Doyle brings his big bus in. And J.D. Crowe would bring our bus in, which was, I think our bus was actually a Ford Taurus, and a Ford Taurus, a GMC van, and an Astro van. I think we traveled like 3, but that was our transportation.
That was your bus. Okay.
So Doyle's here. So anyway, Russell Moore, who was a big singer, just left Doyle Lawson, and I didn't know who he had replaced with. So we're standing out there, New South. I'm new with them. Nobody knew who I was or anything. Stepped off. Then here comes around the side Steve Gully, and I had just took the job with Doyle. He just took a job with Doyle. I just took a job with J.D. And I remember us standing there and looking back and looking up at the bus, and then looking over at our Taurus and all that stuff, and thinking, it's really neat. Years ago, me and you used to sit out in the parking lot at Buddy's Barbecue after the music had stopped at night, and would pick. Now, there would always be jam sessions at Buddy's after the music stopped. I remember being there and watching it get daylight and see if something's happened. And the first time I ever really saw, the first time I ever went through a whole night and saw it get daylight was at Buddy's picking. And me and Steve sat there and just said, it's weird. We sat out behind Buddy's and we played Doyle Lawson and J.D. Crowe tunes, and now, man, we're playing with them, and we're here, and it was really cool. It's like one of those moments. But Gully's been my buddy a long time, and that's the thing about this band here, the All-Stars, is I didn't just look at people who were good players. I looked at people who were good guys and fun to be with, because you play an hour on stage and you got 23 hours that you either want to laugh or you want to kill them. And I've been in both situations like that. I've been in Canada with bands with a long trip back, and hating every one of the guys just because we have a blow up on stage or as we headed off stage and stuff. And a lot of that is just, being with the wrong people. And now just being with the right people, it's like with this band, you turn around and it's like, well, example, I guess since I've been sick, they kind of watch after me pretty good. And it's like Gully's like this. It kind of just happens now, but, I remember the first time I looked around saying, oh, gosh, somebody has got my dobro. It's in the car, buddy. And Steve's like that. You'll see him or one of the other guys. We just all look after each other. And if I see Jason, some of his stuff sitting there, he's pretty particular. He'll bust my knuckles, but Alan's the same way. But Alan's got a mandolin. It's called a Lloyd Lore. I don't know if you know much about those. But his is dated the same day Bill Monroe's is. It's one number apart. And this mandolin's, last we checked, is over $200,000.
Holy cow!
Yeah. So
you're not allowed to carry that?
Well, no, I don't touch it. But Alan, it's funny because we go anywhere, and I don't blame him. He carries it into restaurants with him.
Well, yeah.
I would too, because that's worth it more than anything,
Yeah.
But I'm gonna say something. Speaking of Bill,
insurance on that?
Yeah, he's got. He does it. He gets an appraisal.
Sammy can tell him.
Yeah. Well, he gets an appraisal every year. You're the guy can do it.
There you go.
That's it.
But you'll do good. You'll do good with it. But no, it's funny. I mean, with all these guys, they're just super to work with. But as I mentioned, Bill Monroe's mandolin, July 9th, 1923. That's what it is. July 9th, 1923. I want to hit on this just a minute. When I was about 14, we were kids, Knoxville Bluegrass, David Do, us. We were little I don't know where we were. I can't really say.
Kids.
But we were kids. But we had a chance to go up to the Bill Monroe Music Park, which is Bean Blossom. Bean Blossom has been going 54 years this year, as of this year, longest running festival in the world for bluegrass. I remember we had a chance to go up there, so here we are. We load into our banjo player's dad had a VW bus that raised up,
the top raised,
was a Vanagon or something, I don't know. But he loaded us up, and I remember crossing in through Louisville. I'd never seen a river like that, and I'd never seen land that flat. He was a young kid. He wasn't much older than us. And, you look at kids like that and think, wow, he's doing pretty good. He's about 2 years older, but he's got a lot nicer hair and a lot better than we are. Marty was good looking when he was a kid. I mean, even the boys in the band said, hey, this guy's good looking over here. You know, something strange when guys are saying that. But anyway, got to see all this stuff and all. And then years later, I got to go up with J.D. Crowe and got to play on Bean Blossom. I got to play there when I was a kid, but it was in a contest. We was 14. We come in second place. I think it was 2 bands. But anyway, I got to go back with J.D. Crowe, and here, I was getting to play Bean Blossom. It's a bluegrass Grand Ole Opry. Sure, it really is.
And here you are president.
Yeah, not president, but anyway, it was real funny. Last summer, when we were starting this All-Stars record, or not last summer, it's been 2 summers ago, we were starting it. We were having a rehearsal over in Wytheville, Virginia, with Claire Lynch and trying to get this thing going. So anyway, I had been hearing the rumor a little bit about Bean Blossom maybe going to sell or something like that. So anyway, I'm over there and I pull in the parking lot and I got my suitcase and everything ready to go practice. Phone rings. It's this guy says, hello, is this Phil Ledbetter? And I said, yeah. I said, well, my name's Rex Bulls, and I want to talk to you about Bean Blossom and stuff. And I said, hey, man, I'm busy right now. Let me call you back. So anyway, next day I looked through the numbers. You know how it works. You dial 3 or 4, thinking it's them and it's somebody, and then they'll keep you online 30 minutes. Well, I finally get Rex, and Rex says, hey, I just purchased a park. And I'm thinking, well, this is kind of weird. And he starts telling me, he says, I want to hire you. I've not met you, but I know about you. I want to hire you to book all the talent up here. And I'm thinking, oh, this ain't really right. Well, anyway, I wound up, I called my friends who used to own the park and had just sold it. And they said, yeah, Rex Bulls bought it. So anyway, he hires me in. At the time, it was Rex, and he had a partner. And we go in there, and he just tells me, he says, hey, I want you to handle all the music stuff. I don't know anything about it. I don't want nobody to know who I am. I don't want a Facebook with it. I want to work in the office and do the stuff I know how to do. He's a contractor. So he comes in, and that park is a bad overall. They still had tractor trailers up there that they had turned into shower rooms and stuff, and they were falling apart. And Rex comes in. They just come in, him and his partners. They're, builders, construction. They immediately start just tearing stuff down, and they rebuilt the bathrooms. I mean, there's a lot of people had quit coming to the festival because, they were campers, and they didn't want to be up there in a truck bed that was falling apart and stuff. Rex builds these 18 stall showers with 15 toilets, ATMs, laundry, a service, everything. And he's really done good. Rebuilt the museum. did a lot of stuff in the park, got it looking good. So anyway, Rex right now, Rex is like the sole guy doing it because his partner is into other things right now, which but anyway, it's basically me and Rex, and this girl, works in the office that does a lot of the upkeep. But as far as the music, Rex hired me to do all that. So what was funny, the first year was so hard because I would call people and I'd say, I'm booking Beam Blossom, and they wouldn't talk to me much on anything. They would call the old owners.
Yeah.
Old owners said, we sold it. Then they'd call the front desk, and the front desk, we're new up here. We're doing this. You need to talk to Phil. So Rex has gotten now, if anybody calls in and says, hey, we're a bluegrass, call Phil, give my number. So anyway, what's happened is the festival have been doing pretty good. It was just the facilities that was doing bad. We have over 350 campsites up there. This place is really big. 57 acres of property, museum. Last year, after we had our first Bluegrass Festival, we just wanted to hit it hard because we were trying to show people, hey, we're here. So we really stacked the Bluegrass Festival. We brought in good people, and then midsummer we brought in Restless Heart and Diamond Rio for a middle summer show, which was good for that. But me and Rex had talked, and we said, Rex, we just got to figure out what we are, and we're a bluegrass. This is a bluegrass thing. We need to focus on it, and we need to pump our money, everything we got toward there. So then we, instead of bringing country stuff, we started bringing people in like steel drivers. We have Riders in the Sky coming this year. We have the Quaby Sisters, which they're real big. But now bluegrass, we've got everybody. We've got the Cleverleys. Oh gosh, they are funny. Funny. I had Rodney Dillard last year. Not this year, but next year he'll be back. Rodney, I'm gonna stop on Rodney Dillard. This is funny. We brought Rodney in. He only played a couple of songs. He played more than that. He didn't play much, but I asked Rodney about doing a question and answers thing, and he set up on stage, man, and he was really one of our highest rated things because people were having that connection with Mayberry through Rodney, and they wasn't hearing secondhand. He was telling all this, he was not telling the stories we knew. He was telling backstories like he had with you, and people loved that.
Oh, Sammy, he fixed it up where we got to interview him on the phone here a few weeks ago, and we talked for an hour, better than an hour, I guess, to talk all about the trip going overseas with Elton John.
Did he tell you the story about the Rolling Stones?
No, we asked him. I told him, I said, Phil tells me a story about Rolling Stones. I don't know nothing about it.
He wouldn't tell us. So tell us about the Rolling Stones, Phil.
Okay. They went over, and they were friends with everybody because they were rock stars back then.
Yeah, that's what I found out.
They were on TV. People don't realize Rodney will come over your house now and sit down and have pinto beans with you.
He likes dumplings.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Before I forget it, they sent me a text last night and said to tell everybody at Ciderville and David West, hey, and they want some dumplings. They're coming over. Before I forget it, they sent me a note yesterday, and Phil knows about this. Charlene, Maggie Peters that played Charlene. She fell while she was here with us. My wife had to go to the ER with her, but she's fell several times, and she's in bad shape right now. She's in Las Vegas, and they set up a GoFundMe thing. It's on my Facebook that we're sharing with people, but they need help because a lot of people.
Her husband has Alzheimer's.
He has Alzheimer's, but those guys didn't make a lot. I know we're up against time here, but they did not get the royalties a lot of people think so. So those people are not wealthy. But,
no, they're struggling.
But before we forget, go ahead and finish that.
Oh yeah, I'll tell you this real quick. He told me, Rodney said that when they back in the day, they got to be real good friends with the Rolling Stones. And he said that especially Doug, banjo player. Now, when I moved to Nashville, there was a club called the Bell Cove. And I saw Doug there 3 times. I wouldn't see him play. I didn't see him play because he was always passed out. Usually, Doug had a good time. Doug was a great banjo player and a great guy. Yeah, Doug Dillard, Doug's tune. Doug's great. Doug was great. And me and Doug got to be good buddies. I loved Doug when I was in Nashville. Doug passed away, but Doug's just a great guy. But Doug became real good friends with Mick Jagger, and as Rodney said that one night they were looking for him and couldn't find him, and Mick and Doug had wanted, they thought, I wonder what it'd be like to go party in Stonehenge. So this is when they was on tour, so they broke into Stonehenge, Mick and Doug, and went in there, and I guess in their own way did whatever their party was. Well, they get arrested, and anyway, it become, they're well known. So they wound up trading off concert tickets with these guys, and they let them go. But Doug Dillard, somebody that, I can say I knew, was friends with Mick Jagger and went and partied in Stonehenge. That's pretty good.
It's a story.
Yeah.
Stone with a stone.
Yeah. That's a song. Stoned in Stonehenge.
That's fantastic. Guess we need to wrap up. I'd stay all day.
Oh,
Can I tell you real quick about Sunday?
Tell us.
First of all, Phil's so humble.
I don't know about that.
You are. You're real humble, but you are so talented, and I cling to all you guys. I want to be like y'all when I grow up.
Right, we'll be you.
He's got to do it. No, you don't. He's got to see and do so much stuff, and God has blessed him, and we pray for him. And
he has.
He's got some upcoming surgery here at the end of the month, and Lisa, his wife's got some surgery next week, isn't it?
Monday, she's
having knee replacement.
Yeah, and she had a bad thing in the life past where she almost died. Had a thing called MRSA. But hers, she was in ICU and thinks she's going to make it. No one wanted to operate on her knee this time because it stays dormant. And we found a guy that's going to work on it for her. Either he needed money or he's really good, but I know he's really good. This guy's really good.
Good. Tell him about Sunday, what you got coming up.
Yeah, I'm going to be playing, if I can mention...
mention whatever you want.
Okay, all right then. I'm playing out at the Museum of Appalachia with my buddy Steve Gurley.
Yeah.
And Doyle Lawson is going to be out there, but Doyle's doing something really unique that Doyle usually don't do. Doyle's coming in by himself. I think his band may be on strike or something. I don't know.
Josh left.
Josh left. Yeah, that was a big piece right there. But Doyle's wanted to do this because he wanted to come in by himself and play and do almost like Rodney did, the question and answers type thing. And it's going to be good because Doyle don't do that.
No.
And he's going to be out there. We'll be there Sunday at 2, I think, right?
It's open to public, so
it is.
Stuff like that, what do they need to do?
I think Museum of Appalachia, you can either call them or you can probably get them at I know you can get them at the door.
Sure.
But it should be fun. Steve Gully and New Pinnacle is Steve's band, and I'm sitting in with him this season while my band gets going. And anyway, it ought to be fun.
Sunday at 2?
Sunday at 2.
Okay, Museum of Appalachia. Fantastic.
David, I didn't mean to take up all your time. Tell what we got in 2 weeks. I was going to tell you, you'd asked me about getting you some people in here, so in a couple of weeks we got...
we got some... Next week you got...
2 weeks from today. Jimbo Whaley. We're going to talk about a show we're doing up there, and actually Matt's going to be playing up there.
And my son.
Country Tonight we're going to be doing up there. Matt's fantastic.
My son's getting all the dobro work that I used to get.
Dale and Bradley, they're
he took my old job. I said this real quick. I kept trying to tell Dell-Ann, you need to use Matt. He can do this. And she finally did. And she didn't know how good he sung and everything. And now he's like, they go out together as duets playing and stuff. So I'm glad to see him there. He's talented
Good
guy.
man. He's good man. Good vocals. And I'll let David tell you about in a few weeks. Well, next week I'm not sure, but 2 weeks we got Jimbo Way.
Everybody out if we do get.
But I've got somebody that he's in Colorado this week. He's supposed to get back with me next week. We're going to have out here sometime in the near future, and everybody will know him. Everybody will know him. I promise. Matt Wiseman. Yeah. It's bigger than that. I'll give you a hint. It's called Star Time.
Oh yeah.
You know how call Barney.
Call me for your insurance need. Madison Insurance. There you go.
Madison Insurance.
Say hey to all the folks up at the Madison Insurance.
I put a good word for you in with Bill the other day.
Well, good. I need all the help I can get.
I broke my leg last week, and they had me a new one by the afternoon. and I ran a marathon.
You fell off your billfold.
I fell off David West billfold.
Thank you, man.
Oh man, thank you guys. Phil, thank you. What you got going, David?
I got to tell them the 23rd now. We'll be at Wild Wings at Powell.
Okay.
The 11th of April, we're doing, I've never done one of these before. Of course, I'm bringing most of everybody in. CJ will be helping us on just talk about the 23rd.
Okay.
We've got Claudia Coffee coming in, Chicken Man, and probably Heron, and Big Mike, and we got the whole works.
The whole Hee-Haw gang.
Claudia Coffee, the whole gang.
There you go.
We want everybody coming for it, but the 11th will be a Easter egg hunt. We're planning for this church. It's going to be Claxton Church of God right down below.
Yeah.
That'll be the 11th. That's going to be from 11 to 12. I think Ken Bonham's going to be working with us on that one. Claudia Coffee, Chicken Man's going to be a good show. And you come hunt eggs, and I think they're going to feed or something. I don't know. I just play them. I don't book them all.
Happy birthday to Bill Shannon.
Bill Shannon, yeah.
Bill's birthday.
So the 23rd now, I'll be at Powell, Wild Wings, and I'm going to check with Phil Ledbetter and see if he can get Earl Scruggs dropped by.
If he does, I'm going to run. If Earl shows up, I'm going to run.
If you can't get him, I'll try to do Earl's breakdown. We think I'll hold it down.
If you can't get him, we'll get Lester Flat. How's that?
Well, I did that to Luke one day. I was up on top of the roof, and Luke come by, and he was he's hot. I fixed a sign up on top of the roof at the side of the barn. Luke said, "How'd it go, sir?" And I said, "Oh, good." He said, "You have a good show?" I said, "Yeah." "Have a good crowd?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Who was there?" And I said, "Lester Flat come by." And he said, "What?" Lester done dead. And he said, "Well, who you going to have next week, Elvis?" He called out right quick, but 23rd now. 23rd be at Wild Wings and Phil. We're glad to have you.
Hey,
I'm glad that was a part of getting you going.
Hey, you was, buddy. It's good to be down here with you. Let's do it again sometime.
We will, anytime, man. Come back anytime. We'll give you a show if y'all want.
Hey, I'll do that.
Okay, that's good. All right, guys, going to wrap things up. Stick around here. News coming up in about 5 minutes.
Thank you for listening to AM 1380 WYSH and Ask Your Neighbor. Make sure you tune in at 10 a.m. each day, Monday through Friday, right here on AM 1380 WYSH and BBB TV 12, or listen live online at WYSHradio.com. And remember, if you have a question, comment, or problem, call in tomorrow and ask your neighbor, or email from our website. It's Ask Your Neighbor. Thanks for listening.
H&H Body Shop is a family-owned and operated body shop. Here's Darla, co-owner of H&H Body Shop, on how she ended up in the family business.
Well, I was born into it, but I did choose it. I helped my dad at night on his paperwork when I was a kid. Then I started during high school coming up here. Then after I graduated on state, I ended up here full-time. Daddy got ready to retire, and he wanted me and Barry to do it together, so me and Barry became partners in the early 90s, and we've stuck together ever since.
What do you think sets H&H Body Shop apart from all the others?
We try to fix your car like it was our own. A lot of times other body shops just don't care like that. We're family business, and we act like a family business.
H&H Body Shop on North Main Street in Clinton. Call 865-457-90.
for H&H Body Shop. There since 1960. There when you need them.
Wish is your home for complete coverage of NASCAR 2020. From the first green flag at Daytona through the final checkered flag at Phoenix, catch all the racing action from the Gander RV and Outdoors Truck Series and Xfinity Series on Wish, as well as all the excitement of the NASCAR Cup Series on Wish and Merle FM. All week long during the season, tune in to Wish for daily and weekly talk shows to keep you in the know. We are your racing station.
Authentic, delicious Mexican food. That's what you'll find at Los Caballeros Mexican Family Restaurant in Oak Ridge. Start off with a great appetizer. Dig into a burrito, quesadilla, or enchilada, and check out their house specialties. Be sure and bring the kids because Los Caballeros has a wonderful kids menu. The food at Los Caballeros is, well, I'll let Mr. Garcia tell you.
It's good.
Los Caballeros Mexican Family Restaurant, 1140 Oak Ridge Turnpike in Oak Ridge. Monday through Thursday, 11 to 9:30. Friday and Saturday, 11 to 10. 865-272-3009.
You've got dirt, grime, and French fries from last season tucked under your front seat. From the rush of work and play, you've even collected enough dog hair in your vehicle to make a winter coat. Truth be told, your car's a mess, but the memories created will last a lifetime. Pure Magic Car Wash helps you bring back the magic in your vehicle and in your life. Stop by any of our 5 area locations today or check us out at puremagiccarwash.com. Pure Magic Car Wash. Life happens in your car. Bring back the magic.
Pre-arranging for a funeral allows you to make important decisions together and not alone. Gentry Griffey Funeral Chapel and Crematory has served the Knoxville area since 1948. From traditional funeral options to cremation, they can accommodate any need and any budget. Call them today to discuss pre-arrangement or transferring existing arrangements. 689-4481 or online at gentrygriffey.com. Gentry Griffey Funeral Chapel and Crematory. Trust, value, and service since 1948.
What's new at Hammer Stores for March? There's a store full of bargains like new shipment of ladies' spring and transitional sportwear from New World, the favorite label of the top TV shopping channels. Save on a special purchase of spring sportwear separates from a national specialty store chain. Choose from tunics, skirts, pants, tops, tees, and more, priced from $688 to $788 each piece, a fraction of their original cost. The Beach Party Bargain Day sale continues with all new ladies' swimwear, kids' swimwear, and new men's famous label swimwear. Check out the spring sportwear deals by Alfred Dunner, Sports L, Is Apparel, Isaac Mirage, Glory G, and many others. Choose from men's spring shorts by Columbia, Wrangler, Worldwide, and others, priced from $11.95 to $14.95. Men's trail shoes by Browning are perfect for hikers at $19.95. There are other deals on men's famous label, fishing, and casual shirts.